Hello everyone, my name's Ashley, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing the 25 Bookish Facts About Me tag, which I wasn't actually tagged in, but when I was asking for ideas for some videos to pre-film, someone suggested this and I thought, you know what, why not? So, here we go. I taught myself how to read in the car on the way home from school when I was 5. My mum helped me with this. I would say the letters and I was like, what word is this? So I'd be like, what is C-O-U-G-H? And she would say, that's cough. And I was like, okay, so that's cough. I can do that. So I keep doing. When I finally learned how to read by myself, my mum got worried because I wasn't talking. Then she's like, oh my god, Ashley, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah mum, I'm reading, leave me alone. I was 5. The first book that I was reading by myself that day was Summer by Alice Lowe, which I have stolen from my mum because it holds a very special place in my heart. When I was in primary school and we had to do the reading, so everyone would go and get a book and you'd have to read it, I was so far advanced that I was allowed to read my own books from home. My first book crush was Ron Weasley, and it still is. My favourite childhood books were The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis and Matilda by Roald Dahl. In school, I spent my breaks either in the library or reading, and I continued this until the day I graduated. I got my first library card when I was 6 or 7, and it was because I wanted to borrow Harry Potter by myself, not on my mum's card. After my mum would go to bed, I would turn my light back on and I would read until the early hours of the morning and be really tired. Mum always told me off. Once I refused to get out of a chair because my mum wouldn't let me read a book. And the reason she wouldn't let me read the book was because it was Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and this came out the day before my 12th birthday. And I really, really wanted it, and my mum had a copy and my sister had a copy, and they were both reading it right in front of me, and I wasn't allowed to read it because my auntie was buying the book for my birthday, and mum didn't want me to read it first. I stayed in that chair for 36 hours. When I was in high school, I would sometimes, and by sometimes I mean often, skip school so I could finish reading a book or series. The first time I met an author was at a compulsory school event in year 8, and I asked him the question, why do you not stick to one genre when you write? And I got a signed book because it was a really good question, and I hated the book. When I got my first job, I spent my first pay on books. I think it was the Septimus Heap series that I bought. I got my first bookcase when I was 15, and the reason I didn't have one before this was because I had one of those desks, and it's got like, so you've got the main desk part and then you've got the 2 shelves on top, and those 2 shelves were like full of books and I didn't have any more room. So my parents took me down to a secondhand furniture store and we got a bookcase, and that was my very first bookcase. And I still have it. It's the one that's next to my bed with all my non-fiction on it. The bed that I currently have, I picked because it has shelves on the side of the bed head, and the bed head itself is good for shelving, so I got it because it had shelves for books. I really hate it when I have series that don't match. So with the Diviners and Lair of Dreams, I bought the bigger ones because Lair of Dreams was only in the bigger one, and I had to wait 6 weeks for the Diviners to be sent out in the bigger one, but they match, and that's all that matters. One series that doesn't match on my shelf is the Richard Castle books. I've got 5 of the Nikki Heat series and then 1 Stormfront, but you'll see they don't match. They're all by the same publisher, but they're not the same height, and it drives me mental. I refused to buy the 4th book in another series because it didn't match the 3 that I already had. So the 4th book, Out of Oz, in the Wicked Years series, is not published in this format, and so I have refused to buy it. The final one I have that doesn't match is the Lunar Chronicles series, and it killed me. Like, I got stars above because by the point it came out, I'd already decided I was going to get the whole series in hardcover, but when Ferris came out, it didn't come out in the same size as the rest of the paperbacks, and I did not like it. So when it's in hardback, it'll be all the same size, and I'll be a very happy person. I have a whole mug full of bookmarks, but whenever I start a new book, I always forget to take one, so instead of bookmarks, I use receipts. The last 2 times I saw my best friend, we went into the city to look at books. That was why we went. When I'm reading, I constantly flick back pages, either because I think I've missed something important, or because I finally get to a bit and I'm like, aha, and I have to go back however many pages it is and see the dots and then connect them. It's really bad. It's why I take so long to read. It's a habit I'm really trying to break, but I do it. I can't stop. I am a massive fan of retellings, and I don't think I'd ever read a retelling before I read Cinder, and I was just like, oh my god, retellings. The only people I will let borrow my books are my best friends and my family. In high school, we only had to read like 1 book a year for class, but I actually really enjoyed every single book that I read, including the ones that everyone else hated, and the only thing I didn't like about them was that I had to read them for school and break them down and analyse them. I hated that part. If a book has a pretty cover, it's already 99% sold. I just have to read something really good on the back of it. For some reason, I can read contemporaries faster than I can read other books like fantasy or sci-fi. I think it's because there's less world building that has to take place in contemporaries, so I don't have to absorb everything and file it away. I can just smash straight through it and we're there. I really hate ebooks, and if I can avoid reading them, I will. The only reason I'll read them is if I'm really desperate for the next book in a series, aka Winter or The Raven King, and if I'm travelling, because I just prefer the feel of proper books. And the last bookish fact about me is that while I used to prefer paperbacks to hardbacks, I actually really have no preference now, and I mostly just buy the paperbacks because they're cheaper and I'm cheap. So that's it for the 25 bookish facts about me. I hope you learned something new today, and I hope you liked this video. Let me know 1 or 2 bookish facts about you in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye!